Alright, now we're ready to do the experiment. So we got our block off cap there, plug, and we have our side that supposed to be coming from the engine, and the side that's connected to the Accusump. So if this is a one-way valve, right now when it's closed, it should still allow flow from the engine so that the Accusump always retains the max oil pressure in the engine, which is what we hope for. So first thing we can prove is that it's closed. So if I try to use the compressed air here, it will just try to blow back out here. And indeed, that's what it does. It blew all that back on my hand. But if I put plug on this side, now we should be able to get some flow through it. And indeed we do. So, without even having to connect it to 12 volt power, our compressor just shorted the circuit. Without even connecting to 12 volt power, we've essentially proven that this guy is a one-way valve. So in the off state, it is keeping the highest oil pressure in our Accusump. This is the 2-quart version. It's going to go in the trunk of the 68 Firebird. The Poor Mans Dry Sump, if you will. Also adding an evacuation pump that's going to spin off the V-belt on the front of the engine and keep a crankcase vacuum. And we're going to mount it there. We got our custom mount that I designed and made in the machine shop. Bolts to the cylinder head. Took the alternator from the stock location up high over there, down low to lower the center of gravity and also get it out of the way of other things they may eventually do with a custom intake manifold, and then allows the vacuum pump to go right about here. And got all of our bracketry made. Alright, now we got the lights back on. See the alternator bracket. Chrome part of the bracket is the tensioning part. That's a low mount SBC Chevy kit, but the alternator is the same. This is a Pontiac engine, so there's no mount, there's no bolt holes to accept the bolt where the spacers are. So I welded those together and added cannibalized a plate, another alternator bracket from some other model car I got off eBay. Cut off a chunk of it, and 2 of the holes were spaced properly enough to mount to 2 water pump bolts right there, and then welded that in. Might add a gusset there, but now the alternator's done. Now I'm going to put the pivot point of the vacuum pump mounts there, and then it swings along. I'm going to use still going to make it out of metal, that's cardboard, and it's going to swing along that as a tensioning bracket. Use a piece of 1/8 inch steel for that. So then we'll have our evacuation pump to keep the crankcase vacuum, which is also what a dry sump system will do. And we'll also then install our Accusump, and this is going to use the sandwich in the oil filter so that I can get one port to just access the pressurized oil in the engine. This will be the spit can. So I'll have a spit can coming off the evac pump, capture any oil that comes out, and that ought to set up our oiling system for the track. So we preserve our piston rings with a crankcase vacuum and minimize any oil trying to spit out of the seals, which is sometimes a problem with these leaky Pontiac engines, even just with the old style rope main seals. And they have a new Viton one, it still would leak, so this should help that for sure. And maybe even add a few horsepower, which is a bonus. But and then the Accusump will keep us with some backup oil pressure, so that when we rebuild this here stock bottom end, we will preserve that investment. All right.